Good morning. Just getting myself situated here. One moment. All right. Good morning. So, let's see here. Oops. Dropping stuff already. Let's see, let's get my channel up so I can see who's here. Excuse me. Live, nope, playlists, that's what I want. That's the one. All right. So hopefully things are working. Good morning. Get my trusty ball stick here. Let me move this camera out so you can see where things are at. Hopefully that's a decent view. Yeah, I think that looks good. So we'll take a look at the painting. So this is where we are at right now. So I think the plan is to work a little bit more on the wood today. Hopefully I can get to a, I think it's going to take 2 days. So I'm going to get this to where I'm happy with it today. I've got to get another layer on this, and then I'm going to go back once more for highlights, details, and hopefully this will be all done by then. I'm thinking I'm going to try, anyways, to finish this by New Year's Day. We'll see how that goes. I'm not sure where it's going to go. Because, well, I still feel like I've got a lot to do. Anyways, let's get moving here. I've got to get my stuff set up here. Now, I did something last week. This might be a good tip for you. And I don't know how well it worked or did not work. So things are sticking pretty good. I added a little extra. I got a tickle in my throat. A little extra linseed oil. Now this has been sitting here for an entire week now. I don't know how well I was able to preserve anything, but it's a little experiment. Let's see how it worked. Paint still seems fairly wet. Move that out of the way. Excuse me. I hope anyone who is celebrating Christmas or other holidays has had an excellent holiday. Oh, let me put that back on. Why is that off? Did I kick it off somehow? Why is that off? Uh-oh. I'm going to be in trouble if I can't figure this out. Why is that off? Oh, I see why. Maybe I see why. The cord came undone here. So I've got a USB thing here. Whew, that was scary. All right. I was thinking for a second that my light went kaput, but it's fine. All right. Good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. This was a pain. How are you doing today? I hope you've had a great week. So let's get started here. Again, we're going to continue with, so let's check these paints first. So I did, like I said, I just took some drops of linseed oil and put them on top of all my paints here. And I want to see, that's still wet. That's somewhat wet. Wet. Looks like things. This one usually dries up. Still wet. I think I was able to save all these paints, which is great because these paints have been sitting here. Now some of these are obviously really dry. This is all dried up. But the large blobs of paint looks like they've all survived. So I don't have to go in and remix things quite as much, which saves me a great deal of time. All right, let me get a couple brushes out because I put everything away for the holidays. I gotta see what I've got here. Take that one out. Probably that one. Probably this one. I don't think that one, but I kind of like that one. Oh, anyways, put that one there. And maybe that one. I don't know. I'm just taking a whole bunch of them out at this point. I think I'll start with that. Let's see where I go. All right. Merry Christmas. Day could have been better. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Feel free to share if you want. Understand, I am still in my pajamas. Apologies for my appearance, unshaven. Hair is a mess, but it's the holidays. I'm still on vacation, so this is how artists work, right? Don't care about your appearance, just get to work. I've got to open my turpentine up still. Let me get that open. All right, let's get going on this wood. And real quick first. So, let me zoom in here. Let's see if that's too close or what. I gotta move that up a little bit, it looks like. Let's see, how does that look? I think I gotta zoom out just a little bit. That's better. Let me, there we go. That's better. Well, I'm going to leave it right there, because if I go, see, it's too high now. So, here's the thing. Like, you want to paint at a comfortable level, right? So, at some point, either something's too high or too low. It's really good to have an easel that you can adjust, right? But I'm sitting here and adjusting according to the camera, and really what needs to happen is the camera needs to be slightly lowered here. So I'm going to put this down to where I want it to be for a comfortable level, and I'm going to make a quick adjustment to the camera here. So let's see if I can get that to work without too much hassle. Oh, I see what happened. My tripod is not all the way settled. Look how much lower that is. So now I can lower this. And my tripod got adjusted over the last couple of days. I think it zooms. It's too far zoomed in too. All right, we're going to put it right there. I'm happy with that. I hope you're happy with that. We can see what we need to see. Now we can get moving. So, let's take a look at this first here. So, the color is okay. Like I said, I want to move forward with this. I've got to move faster somehow, and I might be at a point where I can do that. It's a little tricky. I hope that didn't move on me. Maybe I need to move forward a little bit. Yeah. I hope somebody didn't come in here over the holidays and mess with that. Just make sure it looks the same. Yeah, I guess that's okay. Maybe this is too close. I feel like I need to be here. It's difficult to take so much time off from your work, because then you come back into the studio and you're like, what is going on here? Everything looks different. Everything's changed. So yeah, it's a difficult thing to do. Anyways, let's get moving. I'm going to take my number 5. We'll start with that. I'm going to start in the left-hand corner of this left-hand side of this wood area, and remember to get some oil on there too. Not too much. We'll see what I need. And I'm thinking I need a combination of things. I need some lighter stuff, maybe some of this here, and some darker stuff, maybe some of this here. So I'm going to go in with some of that and see how that works. Let's just get some of this on my brush, and let's experiment a little bit. Let's go with this top corner over here. Hopefully I'm not too much in your way. So as I'm looking at this, I've got some lighter areas and some darker areas, so let's just get some details in there maybe. I know this is probably a bit light. Maybe it's not as light as I thought it was. Maybe this is good where it's at, and I need to add darker. I can barely see that. Maybe I need to add lighter. I'm just looking at my color here. I guess that's okay for back there. Yeah, I think that's okay for back there. There's a spot though that I want to here. It's slightly lighter than what I've got there. A few spots I want to paint in there. And let's keep going on this side too. Kind of just barely touching the canvas. There's some texture in this, and I think that if I just graze a little bit, the viewer might see a little bit more interesting texture there. I'm not quite sure. Some of that alright, let me change that color now. Let me go with some of that darker color that I've got here. I don't feel like I'm doing much with this color. So let's, you want to feel like the paint you're putting down means something. Alright, let's try some of that darker brown here. Alright, again. I've got kind of a sharp brush here. It's funny. I don't think that's the color. I think I need to go darker. That feels too bright to me. So I'm going to try this stuff over here. And I might have to add a little gray to it to even it out. We'll see how it goes. Let's see what this looks like. I've got all these colors mixed, so, and I've used them before, so they must not be too bad. And again, I've got a really sharp brush. I'm just kind of making horizontal lines here, because that's really what's going on with this wood texture. It's all little horizontal lines that I like that color better for sure. I think. See as I go. Paint my brush. So I've made sort of an executive decision. There's a few things that I need to do, right? So, oops, be careful. One of those things is I need to produce more, right? So if I'm getting up there in age. I've thankfully, with having the experience of a decent amount of painting in my life, and quite a lot of instruction, I can safely say that I've got the skills that I need to be an artist per se. I want this to be a little grayer. I really do. I'm not really happy. I'm happy with it. It's just not gray enough. I don't know. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna mix kind of like this color here. A little bit of white. That white's looking kind of muddy over there, isn't it? That's okay. A little bit of white, a little bit of black. A little more gray. Let's try that. And I'm going to put in a spot more alizarin crimson in there too. Just a spot. Still grayish. So, back to my executive decision here. So, my issue that I'm finding is that if I paint an hour a day, right, I will make art. You know, things will progress. And that's good, right? But 1 hour a day, and I've spent probably at this point over 30 hours on this painting. So let's say a painting takes me 30 to 40 hours, right? So every 40 hours, even it out a little bit, right, I can produce one painting. If it's this style of painting, right? So, with that in mind, that would take me, on average, 40 days, right? And keep in mind, I don't paint on the weekends. So let's even that out even more, estimate a little more days off, not feeling well, whatever the issue is. Let's say it'll take me 2 months to produce one painting. That is too long to be spending on a painting. And maybe not for everybody. For me, it feels like it's too long. So, what does that mean? That means that I need to create paintings that are a little bit easier to produce. I don't want to say easier, because that's easy is not the way that I want to see things. I want to I want to make sure that the paintings that I create are quality paintings, right? But it's not about the level of detail. Detail does not define a work of art. It can define skill level, and hopefully what I've demonstrated so far shows that I have a certain amount of skill, right? But I believe if I want to truly create enough work that can be self-sustaining, so make a career out of being an artist. I'm getting older. I've got savings and all that, blah blah blah. At some point, I'll be able to paint and not have to worry about the job that I hold. But most artists can't do that, right? They have to have a second job. I don't want to do that. They've got to teach, or they've got to do other things to maintain their checkbook, essentially, right? So I need to be able to produce enough art that sells, that people are interested in. I shouldn't say sells, that produces enough interest to support an art career. So how do you do that? I don't know yet. One, paint more. So I need to spend more hours in the studio. Which is good news for you, right? Because that means I'll be online more. But it also means that I need to focus my attention better than I have in the past on my art. This is the line between one board and another board. I can see the separation is pretty clear. There's some pieces that stick up a little bit. Let me do that over here too. So more hours, okay, done. Going to spend more hours painting. What else? I need to choose subjects or ideas that are faster to produce, right? They need to be good ideas. They can't be garbage. They need to demonstrate skill. And I think I have a couple of ideas. I think the issue is that they are, maybe they're not. They feel in my head like they're wildly different. They're different styles of painting. But maybe they don't have to be. I don't know. Okay, max time I've spent on a drawing is 21 hours. That's a decent amount of time, right? I don't think that time is the defining factor that I'm looking for, though. I'm looking at my painting again here. Time is not, I don't want to be the defining factor here. Let's look at that color again. I think I want to take some of this here, and I want to add some black to it, I think. Look at that again. I keep going with the gray, you know, like it's funny. It is a grayish color that I keep looking at, you know. Maybe I missed a mid-tone that I need to be looking at. I'm going to go with something like this. This is quite a bit lighter than what I had over there. Yeah, I kind of like that color. Hard to see. But I think I kind of like it. I think I kind of... Let's see what that looks like here. I think I want to go more grayish. I'm going to add more white to it. I want it to be lighter. Like I said, I think there's a mid-tone that I did not include. Adding more white to it. A little bit. Yep. I like that color here and there. Not everywhere, but here and there I like it. Yep, that feels like a good color there. I like that color quite a bit. I'm gonna put some on what I just painted. I think it belongs there too. Maybe even like in between a little bit. That. Let's step back for a second. here. Well, I don't have my little bug up, do I? Let me put that up there. Let's see what I'm working on. Some of this I'll have to blend out. It's all these little ridges that Alright, so back to my master plan. Paint more often. Paint, choose style and subject wisely. Let's put it that way. Style and subject wisely. And I think I should have a goal for 2026. What do you think my goal should be for 2026? That's my I don't know why I have in my head I say I should have done so many paintings by end of 2026. I think that's the wrong way to approach it. I don't think art should be subject to terms like that. But I will absolutely put a I need to paint. You know, X number of hours, let's say a week. You know, I think I can start with, let's start with 10 hours a week. Let's start with that. That'll double my hours that I've been working so far. So theoretically, taking this painting half as many days. Theoretically, let's go with that. All right. So there's a big decision being made. 20 hours minimum a week, and that will be monitored by YouTube. I like it. So what else can I talk about today? So let's see. speaking of like resources and you know, how much an artist works and stuff like that. So I started watching a series on Netflix called The Design of Art. And I've only watched the first episode so far. And I'm enjoying it quite a lot, actually. So the first artist, so I guess what they're going to do is they will highlight a single artist for each episode, right? So I like that. It gives me a little history of particular artists, their style, their design process, and things like that. So I like the idea of this series. So the first artist, his name is Olafur Eliasson. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. So he is I would define him as he creates experiences through the spaces that he's working with. So he will put different lights in a room, let's say, put different objects in a room, put different colors in a room, and what he likes to say is he lets the viewer decide what the experience is, right? So in one instance, what I assume is one of his more famous works, I think it's called Sunset or something like that. Basically, in this massive warehouse of sorts, he created, to me, what really looked like a sun. And it was really, really big. You know, this space could fit maybe 1,000 people pretty easily. It's my guess, anyways. You know, and people could spread out. They could lay on the floor. They could, you know, kind of look up at the sky almost with this bright orange disc hanging against one of the walls. And it was a very cool experience, and he did that in a number of ways, you know, like not just with that piece, but with other pieces. Like he created experiences where people could essentially walk around things, and you know, lights would move and colors would change, and sometimes you'd be looking through glass objects, mirrored objects, and some of those objects would change position, and which would, you know, ultimately change the effect in the room on a constant basis. Really neat stuff, you know, and I love that kind of experience art, I guess you could call it. Really enjoyed where he's going with it. However, I had a bit of a problem, and trying to relate to, welcome back, trying to relate to his method of being an artist was very difficult for me. In that this man, Olafur Eliasson, appears to have unlimited resources, right? He's got people backing him. He has a team of people who work for him. He can create lots of things. You know, he owns a couple of companies. One is an architectural firm that he partnered with a friend on. And his ability to create stuff is very different from my ability to create stuff, because he has resources. Even from a young age, he had resources. He was born, I think, 1967, I think it said. And So he's been around a while, a little bit longer than me. And he started doing shows at like age 15. Which is great, good for him. But he started at such a young age. So how does, and I'm not looking to get to that level. I don't really have a desire to create industrial sized installations, right? That's not my gig. So I'm happy to leave that to him. But how does a small artist, if you will, get to that level of not necessarily recognition, but ability to create such grand things? You know, if I had all the resources in the world, the things I'd create would be amazing, right? And at least I hope I would, you know, wouldn't squander those resources away. I don't think that's I don't think that's who I am in terms of, you know, I think there are people who would waste that level of resource. I don't know. So I enjoy his art. I think he did some amazing work, which I really, really do appreciate. But relating to him was difficult. He has had more resources in his life to produce art than I will ever have. And I would bet that he's never done anything else except produce art. Maybe, I don't know. I tried to look up his biography and all that, and it said nothing else about the rest of his life. So, how does personal experience fit in? You know, his personal experience is having the ability to wander the earth, come up with ideas, continually talk with people who are willing to give him resources. Well, my experience is working every day, a regular job, and raising a family, and having other hobbies, I should say, and interests. You know, it didn't talk it didn't talk about him on much of a personal level. It gave a little bit of his, you know, he talked about his parents briefly. I assume they were fairly well off, or are fairly well off, and that has added to his ability to produce work. But I think most people don't come from that type of a world where they can not have a day job, you know? So what I'm doing here is fairly, I'm looking at the subject quite, but I'm also being very kind of free with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. My take on wood is that it should feel organic. It should feel fairly random. You know, so follow what's there, but you don't have to be married to it. it should be fun to paint wood like this. This is... You know, I could sit here and zoom into that and get some, you know, thick glasses on and try to paint it exactly the way it is, but that's not, it's not interesting to me to do that. Excuse me. Sometimes I'm grazing the surface like this. Sometimes I'll spend a little bit more time and that's not looking too bad to me actually right now. Some of that needs to be blended out a little bit. I might do that, a little bit of that right now. I'm going to put my brush and see if it stays there. Good. Alright, I'm going to blend some of this out. Some of these look a little too defined. Just kind of go back and forth with the grain of the wood. You don't want to go up and down because you're going to mess up the grain possibly. I'm working on a dry canvas, so I can be pretty, you know, it's not like the colors are all going to blend together instantly. I can be pretty aggressive with my blending right now. Let me look at that for a second. I'm not unhappy with that. It's a little too aggressive up here. It needs to be blended out a little bit. That looks better, I think. No. A little bit right here. I'm not unhappy with that. I don't know what you guys think about it. Let me back that up a little bit so you can kind of take a peek at it. Not unhappy with it. I'm just trying to... I'm actually looking at the picture on the screen here. I want to see what that looks like. Certainly looks like wood. All right, you know what I'm gonna do is before I move on, I'm gonna add some tiny bits of highlight on this wood. And then I might call it done from there. So what do I mean by highlights on the wood? So looking at this, there's little areas here and there that are slightly shiny. Excuse me. So I've got to make sure that it comes across as slightly shiny, right? So let's get that zoomed back in. So I'm going to clean off this brush here. Go over here. That shine is interesting to me. That color of the shine is... Let's look at that color. It's almost like it's almost an orange. It's funny, as I look at it more and more, I'm like, boy, I could have done this, I could have done that. All right, we're going to start with this pink color here, and we're going to add some white to it. This color here. I'm going to add some white to that, and we're going to start with that. I think that's what we're talking about here. And I'm going to add a little bit of oil, touch of oil, not much at all, because I want it to be on top, if you will. Is this the right brush? That's the question. I think it is. Let's see where it goes. I'm gonna make the brush very flat by pressing down like that and kind of getting this fan brush. See, like that. Getting this fan brush head on it, and I'm just gonna carefully, wherever I see it kind of shiny, I'm just going to barely touch the canvas. I'm going to add a little more white for down below here. So let's make that even brighter. And touch of oil. Keep that fan brush kind of going. Just as you have shadows, it's important to remember the highlights. Without the highlights, you don't get a pop. You know, the shadows stay sort of hidden in a way. This gives the shadows a little bit more dimension. All right, I'm going to soften that up just a little bit. Again, with my big blending brush here. Just a little bit. I don't want to take that. I don't want to blend that into a shadow and then it's gone. I'm just barely touching it. I think I'm okay with that. Like I said, I could definitely go in. As the more I look at the wood, the more I'm like, oh yeah, I could paint it like this, or I could paint it like that, and I could change direction. At some point, you have to be okay with where you're at. So I think I'm good with it. At least that part right there. Let's see, it's 11 o'clock. I've been painting for an hour. I said I want to paint 2 hours a day, right? So, where do I want to go next? I could start background to foreground and finish this and then finish that. I kind of need to clear my palette off. Well, maybe I don't. I mean, there's a lot of same tones down here that are in all that detail here. There's a spot here, right here, that feels off, feels incorrect, because the shaker goes up, and this piece here should fit on top of the shaker, and it looks like it's the opposite way around, because that little ridge is in. So I kind of want to push that out a little bit. So I want to do that, and then I want to get the detail and the highlights in that. So let's do it, I guess. This is where it's hard for me as an artist, right? It is incredibly hard. I'm just drying this off, making sure there's no wet paint on it in case I use it again. It is incredibly hard for me as an artist to switch gears. I don't know why. My brain hates switching gears. I want to do the same thing all day long. So switching gears is hard, but you got to do it. You got to change. You got to evolve, right? So let's do it. Let's fix that first, and then get in the detail. And I'll just kind of like go all over the place, I guess. I don't know. Let's clean this brush off first. Start with that. Like I said, a lot of these colors they're all the same colors, right? It might be beneficial to clean off some of this dry stuff though. So give me one moment. I am going to get some paper towels real quick. So let me do that, and I'm going to come back and clean off a little bit of my palette. Alright, so if you haven't seen this before, this is a good little lesson here. So my palette is a glass palette, and the reason why I chose glass, historically I worked with paper palettes, which meant that every time I wanted to clean my palette off, I had to throw it. I basically threw it away, right? So it created a lot of waste. I wasn't happy about that. So what this does is I don't have to throw the palette paper away every time, right? All I have to do is take a razor carefully, right? If you are a minor person, nobody's a minor person, right? If you are living with your parents, I recommend, well, I should have cleaned that one up, that was still wet. I recommend you get their help in doing this, right? I don't want anybody getting injured because I told them to get a glass palette. And now they're scraping things up with razor blades, right? Take care, don't hurt yourself. It's easy to do. Like anything, slips can happen, mistakes can happen. Hopefully they don't ever happen on my channel. That would be awful, right? Alright, so I've got a semi clean, and I'm taking this and I'm wiping it on my paper towel over here. And I'm going to cover that back up. Always cover up your blade, right? Never leave a blade exposed. Alright, now I've got a better surface to continue to work with here. So let's look at this here. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit without too much problems. I gotta raise this up a little bit. I might have to adjust my camera slightly. Yeah, let me adjust the camera slightly. Actually, let me do it this way. Let me just raise this. All right, that's good. All right. Zoom in a little bit on that. Let me see what happens if I zoom in just a little bit. Just so we're focused on that area slightly. All right. So like I was saying, this right here needs to be pushed out that way a little bit. So I'm gonna need some dark colors. Let me get some black and some white, of course, just a hint of white. I try not to paint with pure black almost ever, because quite honestly it doesn't really come up all that much. All right, everything has got a hint of light in it. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow ochre in it too. I find that yellow ochre tends to mimic natural light a little bit of atmosphere. So I tend to use it, just a hint of it in everything. Alright, so I've got a nice dark color there. Can use that quite a bit in some areas. And I'll expand that as I go. Let me wipe this off. So I'll mix some white into that, maybe some other colors, but this is primarily grays, except for some highlighted areas. Right. My sleeve keeps slipping down, both of them keep slipping down. Get tucked in there, right? All right. We're gonna go with the same number 5, round. And I think what we're going to be doing is something similar to what we've got here. Similar, but not quite. It might be a little bit of, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some of this, and I'm going to put that here, put a little bit of gray in that. I'm going to take my black here that I've been working with, put a little bit of that in there. Bit more white to lighten it up. I think that's what I'm looking for, yeah. Oop, almost lost my brush. Almost dropped it. Let's look at that, where that is. Yeah, that's a good color. Oh. So I'm going to push this out past this. And I need a little oil in that, I think. All right. So I just want to get that really small, a small little area here, right? So I really want that highlight here to be over here, right? Yep, and then I'll clean that off. Uh-oh. What's going on with one of my cameras is acting up. Which one? My, that camera. Why is that camera acting up? 1 second. It says it's got power, so why is it going off on me? Let me remove it and add it back in again. Hold on a second. Camera. It could be that my children are home today, which means they are online and using up my bandwidth. So, all right, connect now. Let's see if I can connect it now. Done. All right, we're back in business for the moment. We'll see how that goes. All right, so let's get back to business if we are back in business. So here, clean it off. So now I'm going to go to a darker color and cover up that old highlight. So a little bit of oil. Okay, thank you for joining. You have a good day too. I'm going to keep going for a little while here. Alright, so now I will take this. That color's a little bit off though, I don't know. A little bit of white. That was a little bit too dark there. It's not really a highlight either. It's a more of a artistic license thing, you know.
Thought about a seat and breakfast in my bed. We were holding hands, I was making plans, a future so bright. Caught a lift uptown, down by the bay, under the stars. I started falling for you. And I didn't know what to do, but I knew that I had to make a move. From the moment that I watched you walk into my life, yeah, I just knew that I had to make a move. And I knew that I had to be with you. I just knew that I had to be with you.
Add a little more white to that. And I'm gonna add quite a bit more white to that actually.
I just knew that I had to be with you.
So I like to have a lot of different tones, so values I should say, going on the side here, because it helps me kind of pick and choose values as I go rather than constantly mixing. So I'll get a bunch of values going over time. And let me get this. Hopefully this isn't too, let's see, too close to the background. I don't think it is. So I want this to be here. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to blend that into this a little bit too. Got a little bit too much on my brush though. So if you're just joining me, welcome. My name is Jason. And I've been working on this painting for a number of weeks. I'm getting close to being finished with it. looks a little bit better, except I don't like that. I don't like this piece down here. Yeah, I like that better. Alright, I'm happy about that so far. I'm going to soften this up with a little bit of a blending brush here. That looks good to me so far. Back up and take a look at it real quick. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to the top. I'm going to start adding highlights, I think. Highlights and detail is where I'm at right now. So how much detail do I care about? That's a good question. How much detail will I ignore? That's another good question. I don't know. Part of me says, well, let's do, before I do the highlights up there, let's do some of the detail in this down here, because I don't think that's too difficult. I'm talking about where the reflection of the wood hits. It's fairly blurry, so I think I can hit that up in there pretty quickly. And since I've already got the colors mixed on my palette here, I think I can do it pretty quick. So let's grab some of a little bit of oil, and I'm gonna grab some of this. I think some of this tinted. There's a lot of things going on here. Let's grab some of this. Let's see how that looks. So. In here, let's see, it's really, like I said, it's super subtle. It's, if I just paint this in here and then soften it up afterwards, I bet you I'll be happy with it. It's just like those little streaks of lines. It'll give it a little bit more dimension. Oh, too dark. Too dark. All right, I think that's where I'm going. I kind of want to get that piece of dark stuff off. So I'm going to take a brush. I'm going to take a little tiny bit of turpentine and I'm just going to lift it away. Whoop, drip, 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 drip. It's okay. This is all dry, so it won't hurt anything. All right, let's try that again. Hopefully that's up. That's okay. It's a little dark, but I'm going to blend it in, so it shouldn't matter too much. And again, it's not all that important that I do this perfectly, because no one is going to see my setup once I'm done with the painting. So it's more important that I convey the idea of the texture and the color, and try to blend this out a little bit. Let's see. And I mean, as you can see, I mean blend it out quite a bit. Excuse me. That's not too bad. Kind of like that. Let's add a little bit of highlight in there. So let me clean off my brush. And I think it's this color here that I'm looking at right here. Let me get a little oil in there. So I think it's this color here that I'm looking at right now. Very carefully. I don't want a lot of paint in my brush. Add a little bit. One level higher with this really light stuff. It's the same color up here too. Again, you do the highlights so that your shadows can kind of stand out a little bit. Without the highlights, the shadows look a little dull. So you've got to add those little bits of detail to highlights, even if it's just a little bit. Right. I like that. That looks pretty good. All right, let's go back to the top here. Now, here's where things get interesting. Clean this brush off. I don't know that I want to do any more detail at the top there. I'm looking. There's a little bit like I could if I wanted to. I can see my reflection in there. Right, I didn't paint that in there before. I don't need to paint that in there. If I don't want to, I'm fine with it where it's at. What I do need to paint in there is those bright highlights here and here. Those are near white. And maybe the very center of them are white, and then on the outside it's kind of gets a little bit darker. All right, I'm gonna paint them white for now. I might have to modify them a little bit afterwards. We'll see how that goes. So, let me pull some white over. Try to get some pure white that doesn't have anything else in it. There we go. A little bit of oil, just a touch of oil, because I want this to be kind of thick. So I really want that paint to sit on top of everything else, right? So pure white, tiny bit of oil, and I think you're cut off at the top there, so I'm going to pull this down a notch there so you can see what I'm doing. So right at the very top here, pure white. I'm going to put a little texture because this isn't completely smooth. So I'm just touching it a little bit to give it a little bit of that kind of brushed steel look. Just a little bit, right? All right, let's do it again. So we've got this right here. And it comes down to here too. And then there's a larger one here. You get that circle. I like to spin my brush when I'm trying to get a nice tip, like that. You spin it and get a nice point. It's kind of like sharpening a pencil. Sometimes you got to sharpen your brush. spot here. And another one down here. And then another one. Let's see. Interesting. All right, I'm gonna do a little artistic license here. Since I left this white earlier, it's not that big on my model, but I'm gonna put that there. Anyways, again, nobody's gonna know it was there. Might be it for highlights. Let's see. Let's look at it for a second. There's a spot right here that I didn't paint in good enough. So I'm going to fix that. I might have to add more white to it afterwards. It's not quite reaching the level of intensity that I'd like. Be careful your ball stick. Alright, so there's a little white spot. Right in here. Really, that should be pretty dark. I'm just gonna hit it with some gray, I think. So let me I'm gonna get some oil on it and get some gray for this one, I think. Let's see what that looks like. Again, a little artistic license, that's okay. Take some whiter stuff here too. Blend that out. All right, where are we at here? Let's look at this compared to the model. I'm fairly happy with that. That looks good to me. Maybe I'll put a little bit of detail here. I don't want to put too much. Let's pull that off. Back to that same gray. oil. Same gray. Pull a little bit of Alright. And see a little bit of detail across this here. And maybe over here. Not a lot, but it does make a difference, you know. Like just going over everything one more time it's not a bad idea. Just to make sure you're happy with everything before you call it a day. Here's a spot right here that I think I need to add a little bit of something. This is dry. Blend that out just a little bit. That might have blended out too much, but we'll see. I use my bigger brush. This one I know is dry. The other one I think is a little wet still. Alright, that's better. Alright, let's look down here a little bit. Yeah, there's some details in here that I want to add. So I think what we're looking at is this color here with a little gray in it. So I'll pull that over here maybe. I already had a lot of gray in my brush, so I'm just trying to find the value. I think that's probably good. And there's some little swirls in here. That might not be dark enough, actually. I might have to add some more brown to it. Yeah, that's better. Clean that off. Some of this dark stuff. And And let's see. That's a little too bright. Blend that all together. That's better. Now I'll get some of that darker stuff too. I'm a little blurry there, aren't I? Because my head's in the way. Duh. Sorry about that. I gotta keep my head out of the way. Alright, let me fix this. How do I keep my head? Oh, well, I'm just gonna have to keep my head out of the way. How about that? My apologies. Let's try that again. Alright. With my head out of the way. That was awful. Right? Ugh. Alright. Fairly happy with that. I want to get a sharper line right here. And here. Alright. I think I'm going to leave the reflection of the glass until I start working on the glass. Let's take a peek at this, see how we feel about it. Clean off my brushes while I'm looking. And let me zoom out a little bit so you can see a little better too. There you go. Now you can see the whole thing. I think besides that glass, or the reflection of the glass, I think I'm done. I think I'm done with that shaker. I'm happy with it. It looks good. Took me a little longer than I wanted to, but I think I pulled it off. So tomorrow I will start the glass. We'll see how far we go with glass. I think I'm done with the wood. I think I'm done with the shaker. I might go back one more time just to tweak the highlights and the detail just a little bit, but I'm pretty happy with where it's at. Like I said, my goal is for this to be done by Thursday, so I've got 3 days. I spend 2 hours a day on it. I should be able to do it without a problem, because tomorrow I should be able to get pretty close with this. There's some detail in there that I'm really concerned about, that liquid in there and the frosted bits of glass there. But I just make a decision and move forward. That's what I have to do. Yep. All right, so that's all I got today. So if you join me, thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day and happy painting. Thank you. Bye.